From Australia's top end with a bird of prey, I'm Megan Black. Evening Magazine starts now.
We continue our tour of undiscovered Australia with some of the wildest wildlife in the world. Come within inches of Australia's most notorious predators and get a rare look at the Outback's spectacular birds. Plus, go crazy.
She loves scratches.
For the incredibly cute critters in Sydney.
I'm Jim Dever at the Seattle Art Museum with art that's meant to be worn and heard.
It's Evening Magazine for Tuesday, May 10th.
Hi, and welcome to Evening Magazine from Territory Wildlife Park here in Australia. I'm in a monsoon rainforest, and can you tell? In the middle of a monsoon. Now, we know that kangaroos and koalas are really the traditional animals you think about in Australia, but I gotta tell you, here at the Wildlife Park, there are some great, unusual, colorful animals. We're gonna play with some of them in the show tonight. But even though the animals are great here in the Northern Territories, it really is all about the salty, the world's largest crocodile. And I gotta tell you, the best way to see it is to convince one to jump out of the water. Kim Holcomb gives it a try.
Hey Megan, the guys at Jumping Crocodile Cruises, they know what they're doing. I'm counting on it because they're about to take us to feed crocodiles in their natural habitat from a boat.
They're prehistoric, fearsome, and elusive. Until you climb aboard this boat, captained by Peter Saltmarsh.
There's some cold water for you to drink and don't fall over the side.
He's only half joking because this is the Adelaide River, not an amusement park.
Yeah, you can't train them, you can't rely on them, you can't trust them.
But after decades of being fed on this stretch of water, the Crocs are a bit like Pavlov's dogs.
Whoa, there's one!
They hear the motor and head straight for us. Buffalo meat dangled from a pole convinces them to perform what looks like a trick. But that's how crocodiles naturally catch their prey, leaping out of the water powered by their massive tails, sometimes launching their entire bodies into the air.
And that's what we came to see, isn't it? Spectacular jumping crocodiles.
In 1971, Peter's research helped place saltwater crocodiles on the endangered species list. All these years later, he's still fascinated by them, with prejudice.
Because they are pretty special, but there is nothing nice at all about them.
On this day, they do prove to be reliable.
Oh, that's huge.
In less than an hour, we spot almost a dozen.
Oh, that's huge. That is pretty big.
We're surrounded. They're coming from everywhere.
Then in the distance, we attract the attention of a croc nicknamed Hannibal.
Oh, look at this old dog. He's about 6 meters long.
Oh, sick.
That's more than 19.5 feet.
Probably the biggest crocodile I've ever seen.
At that size, Hannibal could be 100 years old, a senior citizen, but no less dangerous than younger crocs.
People don't comprehend how powerful crocodiles are. It's just unbelievable how powerful they are.
It takes a little longer to convince him to jump, but when he does, it's amazing.
Oh, that's huge!
You wouldn't stand a chance, would you?
They're bigger than my dad.
A 9-year-old's revelation is just one reason Peter thinks these cruises are critical to species survival. By seeing crocs up close in the wild, passengers will learn, and Peter hopes protect.
It's only education that's going to save them, and the more education, the more understanding that we have of crocodiles, the better off they're going to be.
Crocodiles outlived the dinosaurs, and in Australia's Northern Territory, they're once again thriving in spectacular fashion.
That was spectacular, Kim. There are apparently 80,000 crocodiles in the Adelaide River alone. Well, kangaroos, crocodiles, and koalas, yeah, this next place has all of those, but it also has some of the more unusual Australian wildlife. We're visiting the Taronga Zoo in Sydney. One look, and it's love at first sight. followed by a kiss and a cuddle. Keeper Brett Finlayson shows us how easy it is to go crazy
She loves scratches.
for the incredibly cute critters
Oh, there we go.
under his care at the Taronga Zoological Park in Sydney. Overlooking the harbor, the zoo's known for its city views and wild animal exhibits. But today we go for something a little tamer at the Education Center, where Brett's still sharing the love
She's 18 months of age.
with a wombat
Gotcha.
and other Aussie marsupials you will never see roaming around Seattle.
No, you wouldn't see them. No, no. Yeah, so marsupials, as you may know, have a pocket or a pouch. So they give birth to a little embryo, like a little jelly bean. And the embryo crawls inside the pouch, starts suckling, and grows inside the pouch.
The only marsupial we have in the United States is the opossum. Down under, they are common and come in all shapes and sizes.
Okay, so inside here is probably the cutest, or three of the cutest little creatures you'll ever see.
Imagine how small their pouches must be. A grown feather-tailed glider weighs just 15 grams.
Which is probably the equivalent of like a little bite of a chocolate bar. That's all they are.
But the marsupial we associate most with Australia
Oh, they're so damn cute.
is the cuddly koala.
But they're actually not that cuddly. So this guy is.
His name is Macaulay, and like the other animals at the Education Center,
And he has got little eyes, but a big nose.
he was orphaned, rescued, hand-raised, and now much tamer than his relatives in the wild.
Wild ones would use their very sharp claws and their teeth to protect themselves.
And they use them to eat, but only eucalyptus leaves.
There's a bit of an urban legend that the leaves get them a little bit drunk or high, but it's not true. The reality is eucalyptus leaves are very low in nutrients, and so simply they can just eat and eat and eat, but they can't get the energy to do much. They sleep during the majority of the day, but you're very lucky to see them awake.
And we're very lucky to get this intimate encounter with all the lovable marsupials who call Australia home. A couple of quick facts you might not have known. We're told kangaroos outnumber Australians 3-1, and most Australians have never seen a koala in the wild. They're just too elusive.
Still ahead, we'll take you to a place where birds walk on water. Explore the quiet magic of a billabong. And later, get close with emus and kangaroos. Maybe too close.
Welcome back to Evening Magazine from the Territory Wildlife Park here in the Northern Territories. Now they have this awesome birds of prey exhibit where the birds will fly around, but unlike in the Northwest, they invite you to come handle some of the birds. Priscilla Leeson is joining me now, and you have Ruby. Tell me about Ruby.
Absolutely. Ruby is a rufous owl, and she's the largest owl that we have up here in the top end, and she's found in the monsoon forest. Eats things like fruit bats or flying foxes, possums, bandicoots, other owls even.
Okay, so what do I do here? I'm a little
Well,
nervous.
if you just hold your hand nice and still,
Okay.
hopefully Ruby will behave.
Come on, Rubes. Oh my goodness. Hey, Ruby. Now, if you make eye contact, is that okay?
That's okay. She's very quiet. She was hand raised.
Wow, a little bit heavy there. Hey, Ruby. Hey, Rubes. Now, why does she do that?
Because she's hand raised, she basically calls to people like she would a parent. So we haven't ever kicked her out of the nest, so to speak. We're still here, so she likes to talk to people.
No tough love here. Huh?
Absolutely.
Priscilla, Ruby, thank you so much. A rufous owl. Well, 1/3 of the natural birds here in Australia can be found in Kakadu National Forest. Now, one of the best places, besides the Territory Wildlife Park, to see them is to go to a billabong and tour it. Now, a billabong is the end of a river that dries up and then fills back up again in the wet season. Kim Holcomb did just that.
Yeah, Megan, the only true way to experience the wetlands here is, of course, by boat. And if you're willing to get up at the crack of dawn, you will see some amazing wildlife and have one of the most serene experiences of your own life.
First you hear them, then you see them. Dozens of reasons to wake at sunrise alongside the creatures of Kakadu National Park.
So the depth of the water through here is at 1.8 metres.
During the dry season, you could walk through this narrow passage, but in the wet season, the trees seem to be wading in water. and resident birds are busy adding to their families.
But it's awesome when you get to come out here all the time and you get to see what happens to them.
These are jacanas, master illusionists of the billabong.
Just as they're walking along from a distance, sometimes it looks like they're walking on the actual water, so they've been nicknamed Jesus bird.
There are more than 280 species of birds in Kakadu.
Very, very shy bird.
From the elusive kingfisher to white-bellied sea eagles, the so-called yellow waters are home to some of the wildest life in all of Australia.
So just as we round the corner, we'll be coming up onto the South Alligator River.
Occasionally, the animals come to you.
Crocodile patrolling its territory and its natural habitat.
This crocodile, a female, tailed us for about 5 minutes before she lost interest. Meantime, someone else was eyeing us from a tree branch.
There's his head. Because you know how they say, if you really love what you do, then you don't work a day in your life. And I found that, you know.
Navigating and interpreting a world suspended above feet of water.
Between 1 and 1.5 metres of water underneath all that grass out there, that's buffalo grass, and buffalo grass floats.
So do lavender lilies, and above, termites nest in trees, an ecosystem as exotic as its soundtrack.
You hear the kookaburras out to the right-hand side?
Kakadu National Park is nearly half the size of Switzerland, and the yellow waters cover only a fraction of that space. But it's hard to feel like you're missing anything here.
It's just the serenity, watching the crocodiles in the water and the birds, and it's like a massage to the soul.
A once-in-a-lifetime trip, no matter how many times you take it.
Every single time you come out, something different happens.
So if you're not a morning person, there is also a spectacular sunset cruise as well. And if you want to get up close and really personal, like with Ruby here, Territory Wildlife Park is where you want to be. We'll put a link on our website. You are awesome.
Coming up, a kangaroo tries to pick a fight with our photographer. How these animals and their babies survive in the harsh outback. And from Seattle, art you can wear and hear, where you can find this one-of-a-kind exhibit up next.